Mercedes-Benz W163, the hood is stuck, the hood latch is broken. So I'm in the process of removing the grille to be able to get back there, and I thought I'd just throw in a couple tips. I'll show you how to get this plastic piece out in a second. I'm shooting this after the fact, after I've already done the whole repair, got the grille back together. This is basically what I'm saying. There's some little tabs in here, and I'll show you those in a second with the camera. But what you're going to do is get under each tab and pick it out. So, for example, right there, I just picked one out. I'll show you in detail now what I mean. That's the tab right there. So I just went in and pulled it up. That's one there, and there's a bunch of them all along there. And what you want to do is get those top ones out first, and then once you have them out, you'll be able to get the bottom out. So I'll do another one right here. Get in with the pick and just kind of pull it out. It's tedious, but it can be done. I'm going to try to give myself a little bit more slack by pulling it out here. Oh yeah, and see, I broke these two on it, but this one I didn't break. To get this on the bottom, you just kind of lift it up like that. But you want to try to get these top ones first. So this one here, there, I just popped it out, and that one's coming up there, and so on right here. And you're just going to go along the top and bottom on the whole thing. I'm not going to do that whole thing right now on video because I don't want to press my luck and break more of these. This one is a little bit easier, I think, because it's shorter. So you're just, same deal, you're just pressing it on those tabs. Pop it out like that. Then go to the next one. Pop it out. Pop each one of them out the best you can. You might have to kind of come back. Okay, so almost got that out. There. I don't think I broke any of the tabs on this one. Let me see. Alright, so I got the top one out. Then you're going to pull it forward. And then kind of, each one of these is going to want to catch. You just got to be patient and go in with the pick. And push the little tab back. Push the little tab back. And there. And there. And there you go. Alright. So that's an example of how to get that out. Same deal on the other side. These are the ones that's a little different. These ones were really easy. I just put the pick in and then just kind of slid it because it's kind of on a track. Let's see. Let me see if I can do it again. There it goes. Okay. So just kind of push it. There. And that'll come out just like that. So this one, let me just to focus. These little tracks, that's how it goes. These are the fasteners here that you're trying to get to. That's the whole reason you're removing these. And you'll see how I got those off in the video. We'll go back to the video now about getting the hood open. For these fasteners here, this grille is held on by this piece, and you got a fastener here. Just all around the perimeter, you've got one there. I'll do the flash on. You have one there, and so on. All around, there's quite a few. And you got a couple, let's see if I can get that to focus. You got some back here. You can't get a tool down there. I first started by removing this piece, which was the easiest. It just popped out. But I can't reach my arm up there that far, so I'm going to take the grill out. You can get, I think I'll be able to get a 90-degree screwdriver on here. But for these up here, I just turn these out, and this is a tip from another YouTuber. I'll put up his video. I turn these out using, in my case, the vamp pliers to get them started. And you want to turn them this way since you're trying to turn them out. and it might ruin the fasteners, but it'll get them done. So I'm going to remove those and then see if I have access to something in there. I got all those fasteners out. I unscrewed them from the outside, all of those except these ones down here that you had to get from inside. And for that, I went in through this opening. Super awkward, but I used this setup right here with this little 90-degree. This is ratcheting, so it was nice. Once you break it free, in my case, I was able to spin it by hand. But not sure what the next step is going to be. Notice that if I just kind of rock it down over here, I can kind of pull it forward, but it's caught on, obviously, that thing there for that, and I'm not sure, maybe there's just a pin. Oh no, cool, look at that. Alright, so we got the grill off. Alright, let's look inside. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so having a look inside here. The cable, I believe, is actually above there, so I'm really hoping that that is an access panel. I'm gonna pop that out and see what is going on in there, because I don't see any other access to the hood latch. What is that thing? I'm using the cell phone to try to see what that thing is. What on earth is that thing? Maybe that is a cable coming in there. Alright, that is the hood latch. And if you look in the mirror there, you can see the shiny part from the cable. I'm filming this now after I've already got the hood open and installed the replacement latch. But I'm going to show you if you can get to this point on yours, so you're knocking out that plastic access panel after you take the grill out like you saw. The part you want to try to open is, see that cable right there? You want to try to get on that little black thing. I'll put an arrow on it. And then you want to try to push it towards the driver's side. So I'm going to try to do this, looking in the mirror. Okay, I'm on that black thing. The hood is latched right now. That's unlatched. All right. So you're aiming for, it's so hard on the mirror because it's like opposite. You have to think in an opposite way. That's what you're aiming for right there. All right. So now if you're in my situation and the cable is messed up and the spring's all crazy, then you might have to proceed to do what I did, which was to completely blow this whole plastic sensor out there and then to go in with the die grinder. But hopefully you can just do this. Here's the replacement latch that I got at the junkyard because it came with this. I'm going to do a separate video on the install for this and also the cable because I had to replace the cable. So check this link up here or the pinned comment. I'll put a link in the pinned comment. But how this works is when it's in the vehicle, if you remember, the electrical is going to be going that way. And we'll just go ahead and set it. Just going to push down there. That's set now. So what you're trying to do, if you can, is get a hook or something on here to pull it back. You can see that releases it. So to do it one more time from this angle, like this is how you would be looking at it, except you'd be looking at it through a mirror. So that would be up here. You want to try to get in here, get around this thing, pull it back, just like that. Hopefully that'll work for you. You don't have to blow the whole thing out like I did. If you do end up having to blow the whole thing out like I did, I'll just go ahead and release this. This is the plastic part that I had to just destroy with a screwdriver. This is the plastic part, is the housing for the switch. Here's what's left of the switch, and that's for the hood position sensor. So I guess it just tells you if the hood is not locked. So this does come out. If you possibly can, while it's in there, push down on these two tabs like this. If you can somehow get in there and push down on these two tabs. I would have tried, oops, I'm sorry, I would have tried to do this had I known that this was possible on the one when I was trying to take it out, but you can pull this off. Instead of destroying it, you can pull it off, and then you'll have this look, which is, again, what I ended up doing. In my case, this spring was totally messed up. This part was way over here. The spring was all weird. That's what I cut with the die grinder. I went right up against that and cut that, and then I had to kind of pry it to the side to get it off of there. And then this thing was free as far as the spring. It still wouldn't open though, so I would tap it here with the punch. It didn't open. And then when I went in with the die grinder right here, something just popped and it sprang open. That very quickly accelerated into quite a hassle, but I did get the latch open. I'll show you here. I took the fasteners out for the horns just so I could get my arm back there. I have some cardboard here to protect the condenser because I was in there with all kinds of tools. And you can't get a good look at this thing except by a mirror. So it's very tedious, but I'll show you here what I did. That's looking at the bottom there. That's the latch open. So, okay, so bear in mind that you're looking at this in a mirror. I'll point some arrows. That first arrow there, that's where if your cable is connected, it would go. And if your spring is not broken like this one was, you could put a tool right here at this arrow and push that back, and that ought to spring your hood up. The spring was broken on this side here, this arrow. So that didn't work. So as you can see on this other side, there's a spring that's cut. And I had to go in there and grind that spring out with the die grinder to cut it. So what I ended up doing was basically the one spring was already broken. So moving that latch didn't do anything. The latch just flapped back and forth. The cable was on there, so I just disconnected the cable, just moved it up. And then on this side over here, it took me a while to figure out what to do. I just decided to cut the spring, and I'll kind of draw a little line to show you where that spring sort of went. But after I cut that spring, I took the die grinder and just started grinding right at the center where they meet. And it just popped open. So I think maybe the die grinder just pushed one side a little bit, and that's when it opened. I don't know that for a fact though. Here's the die grinder I use. This is just one of those, $10 ones from Harbor Freight. You're definitely going to need a swivel on there because you see I ran my hose in through this bottom one there by the license plate frame, and then you need a swivel because there's just very little room. And this is angled. See how it is on the top? It's not straight up and down, it's more like that. So this was really tricky. This was pretty tricky. It needed a lot of picks and all. Hopefully in your case the spring is not broken and you'll just be able to go in there and manually push it. I'm pretty sure I got this kit at Harbor Freight. There's a bunch of just bits for the die grinder. This is the one that I used. I picked that one to grind off that spring. if you have to end up doing this, because it was the only one that I could really get on there to work with that spring, since it was flat and there's just not a lot of room. But there's some other ones in here that might work too. You know, that ball one probably would have worked as well. Sorry the lighting is so bad, but like I said, I didn't really plan on doing this. It's very important that you put something here to protect that condenser, because you're going to be working with some tools that could easily bust that condenser up. And even something like this here, the end of your air hose, if you're using a die grinder like I did, just be careful. You don't want to end up having to replace the condenser as well. Once the hood popped up, I just removed these two 10mm fasteners, and I'm going to take this out. So the on the bottom side here, you can see that I blew out all the plastic. I did that in order to gain access in there. There was a bunch of plastic in there that I just chewed up. Went in there with a screwdriver, just broke it until I could see what was going on here. This is a real hassle. I'm going to get a replacement, and hopefully I'll be able to reuse the sensor. Now to get going on this grill, I've got my Harbor Freight plastic welder warming up over here in the corner, and I think I'm going to be able to weld back on, you know, melt plastic back on these tabs, some of them anyway, but I don't think I will need that many. I'm going to try to put this thing back together and see how far I can get without having to use my little plastic welder. These are all just going to line up in these holes. It's kind of obvious on the top because of that shape there. And I'm just going to carefully get these back in and hopefully not break anything. And I'm not positive about this, but I think the bottom side goes in first and then the top, because when I took it out, I took the top out first. So that's snapping in okay. Oof, feels like you're going to break stuff when you're doing this. Okay, I'm going to use a pick for that one. And then over here, looks like I have to get that one in place before I can line these ones up. Push that down. Okay, there it is. Then that one's broken. I might be able to get away with that. And then push these in. Okay. So, oops, I bent that one. There was that one. Alright, so this looks, that looks like that's on there fairly well. Then on the top here, see how each one of these goes like there? But I did break some of those. Let's see if I, okay, that one's going back. See that one? Alright, that one's good. Broke that one, broke that one. That one's on there and that one's on there. So that actually looks pretty good. I think I'm just going to leave it like that. That's on there. That's on there pretty well. I might go ahead and do that tab later. Let's see how well it goes together. Looks pretty good. Then for these ones on the side, don't let that shape throw you off. It's because it goes like that, so it doesn't need to be that shape. So this is the one for this side. See how the end kind of fits over there? Same deal on these. These, I guess I didn't really break those that much. That's kind of lucky. I'll push these back in. Might use the pick for that. Yeah, that feels like that's going to break, so I'm going to use the pick there. So using the pick, it looks like if I come on the back side and I pull it in, that's working okay, not breaking anything. Okay, so those are in. Now you can see here, get this to focus a little better for you. There, there, and there. Let's see how those will go in. Oops, that one popped out there. I gotta push that one in a little more. Okay, so looks like that's in okay. You can see where that had been sealed in some kind of way. So that might be a point I might go back and plastic weld. We'll just continue doing this with the rest of them. They're all kind of similar, like I said, except for those bottom ones. And I didn't break the bottom ones, so that's lucky. I'll show you a bottom one real quick. Bottom ones are obvious because they have that circle shape. And you're just going to line these deals up with the holes. And then you just kind of slide it like a track. And it goes right in. That's easy. So a little more detail on the bottom one. So when you get it slid in on the bottom, if you flip it over, you can see where right there it's supposed to kind of latch. So you want to kind of just guide it a little. See that right there? How that when you move, it's gonna latch there. So I'll just get these each over. And come on over. There. And this one there. Okay. So then I can just lock it in place. So those ones are pretty easy. And on the back here, if these aren't going in, just go in with the pick and kind of guide them over each one of these. So this is good news. I got the grill back together. Even though I broke, like I mentioned, these are all the pieces that fell out when I was doing this job. It doesn't look like I have to actually put any of those back on, so I'm not going to use the plastic welder. These ones up here would be the only ones I would be concerned about. So actually I will. I'll go ahead and I'll do a little dab here and there, because, and that one's broken, I might try to put one on there just because I can see how that's going to want to come out. So I can prevent that with a little dab. I just used the plastic welder there to melt a little piece to kind of fuse that. I just used the plastic from a random piece that broke off. You could probably just use the plastics that's there and just kind of mush it together. And then I did the same thing there, just a little tack plastic weld. So this looks good. I'm ready to reinstall this. This here is that bottom piece, and this was the easiest one to remove. It's got all of these little clips on the bottom. And literally all I had to do was get a pick in there and just kind of pull at about each one of these, and it just started popping out. This thing pulled out super easy. It didn't break. You see, it's a very flexible sort of plastic. So this will be easy to install. None of them broke. There's some holes, and it just pops right into them. I'll show you the holes. Here are the holes. Here, they're kind of like slots. And it's got some on the top there. So you're just lining up those and pushing it in place. So I'm just going to line it up with those little slots and press it in. Yeah, just snaps. Okay. And you can reach in from the inside if you need to guide it in, but it's pretty much just popping in there. Okay, I'm caught on one there, so I'm going to use the pick to press it down a little. There it goes. Got on another one here. Alright, cool. And this one here. A little bit hot. There it goes. Okay. Alright. Alright, so that's back in. That wasn't so bad. Putting this on, you just have to line this up with the little opening in the Mercedes-Benz logo for it. So I might just kind of pull it out and get it through. There it goes. Okay. Once you have it through the Mercedes symbol there, you need to come under here, and this part right here, that needs to be under that. Like, I might need two, there it goes. You need to put that like that. See that? Then below the Mercedes sign, you gotta get this over there. See how that goes? I don't know if I can do it with my hand there. Right there. And the same deal here. I'm gonna need two hands for that. But the same deal there, those two spots. So the one up on the top of the Benz symbol, and then the two on the bottom. So those three alignment points, and then it's just going to be putting the fasteners back in. I was able to find some screws in my screw collection that fit. So just if you have to replace any of the screws, just make sure that they're not too long, or cut them if they're too long, because if they're too long, they will go right into the grill. The grill is back on, so I'm just going to make sure this is moving okay and ready to close this. Now if this happened to you, go ahead and click the info link up here, or check the link in the pinned comment, because I did a whole new video on replacing the latch, which you pretty much already know how to do if you've gotten to this situation, but if you need to replace the cable as well, you can check out that video. And now we can close her up. And that is a wrap on the Benz Hood Stuck Closed, not stuck closed anymore. Check back to the channel in about the next week. I should have a video up for troubleshooting a parasitic battery drain. The reason I was trying to get this hood open is because the battery was dead, and in the process of troubleshooting that, discovered that there was a parasitic drain on this vehicle from the antiquated TeleAid module. So that video will show how to troubleshoot a parasitic drain on the ML. Hopefully you don't have that problem, but if you do, maybe it'll help. I'm sorry your hood got stuck closed. I hope it's open by now. Thank you for watching, and good luck with your repair.